Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 173 of Crunch Time with the N326 Steel. I'm your host today, Sam Godsey, and with me today, as always, is Tanner Dislin. Tanner, how you feeling tonight?
Sam, I am feeling pretty good. We have a big time game three in the NBA Finals tonight on Wednesday, the day of recording. Big time game going back to Indiana now. We'll see how things play out, but I'm sure we got a lot to talk about with the finals and much more. So I'm ready to get into it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a surprisingly crazy couple last week of sports. So we got an action-packed episode for y'all. We got winners and losers coming up shortly. Gonna go on the diamond and wrap up with some. Also talk about the NBA Finals and wrap up with a Give Me Five. So stay tuned for that on episode 173. But Tanner, you know what time it's for. Winners and losers. Who is your winner of the
Yes,
episode?
Sam. We're gonna go on the diamond a little early now with my winner. Over the past weekend, Sam, we saw what might be the greatest catch in MLB history, which is pretty funny because the what was widely regarded previously as the greatest catch in MLB history happened at the same stadium by a guy you might recognize. But first, we'll start with this winner, of course, and that is Denzel Clarke of the formerly Oakland, currently homeless Athletics. Against the Angels at Angel Stadium, Nolan Shanuel hit a bomb to center field in what looked like it was going to be a home run until Denzel Clarke climbed on the wall like Spider-Man style, hung on the wall, reached over, and brought the home run back. One of the craziest catches you'll ever see. If you're living under a rock and you haven't seen it yet, I recommend looking it up, and taking a look because it was pretty sweet. And yeah, I mean it was pretty awesome. And this guy, Denzel Clarke, has made a few really nice catches in center field. Oakland, or excuse me, no, the Athletics seem to have a few younger pieces that can play. They have a few pieces to build on, and Denzel Clarke looks like he might be one of those making incredible catches in center field, Sam. And the other catch that looks eerily similar to it was done by a young Mike Trout in Angel Stadium. So look up that one too. Let us know which one's better. They're very similar. But Denzel Clarke, what a catch! You're the winner, my winner of the episode.
Yeah, that catch was insane. I think Sam Decker kind of put it perfectly on X. He said pre-social media, this would have been a 15-minute segment on Sports Center. And I would have talked about it with friends for weeks. I sometimes miss when things became almost folklorish and things moved slower. And I mean, how many weeks do you think that would have been the top 10 play of the year? Like
Oh
play.
God, dude.
It would have done
Yeah,
nobody's.
and they used to do that, like your 65 straight times.
Yeah.
Like they'd have they'd vote on it, and it would be like you have a streak of when
Mhm.
it would have been incredible. Like it is such an unbelievable. Here, this is what I wanted to show you. Here, these are the two catches side by side. Sam, this is from at underscore DADLER on Twitter. I'll get the volume down so we can. I mean, I don't know if you were able to see that, but we'll retweet it on the Crunch Time Twitter as well. But both to center field, both ranging to their right, climb up and make the catch. I mean, they seem identical.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But we'll get that retweeted for sure. But yeah, that was what a catch, man.
Yeah.
Got right to the Mike Trout flashback for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm actually going to stay on the diamond as well for my winner, but I'm going to go to softball diamond because the women's College World Series wrapped up this past weekend against Texas and Texas Tech, and it drew 2.4 million people in game three. That is the most watched college softball game ever, and is the seventh game three ever. And Texas absolutely took it to them. This game was absolutely crazy. For the full final series, it averaged about 2.2 million, up 13% from 2024. There's actually some Iowa local softball players. Tegan Cavan, she pitched 31 and 2/3 scoreless innings across the Women's College World Series, no earned runs, and was named the tournament's most outstanding player. But this game was absolutely dominance by Texas. They had 5 runs in the first inning, a 3-run homer, got 3 of those. Mia Scott had a grand slam in the fourth and is 10-0. Now, what's crazy about how this game ended out, Najari Kennedy of Texas Tech is the highest paid women's softball player. She signed a NIL deal for $1 million to go to Texas Tech. And she kind of got raked in this one. She was the one that allowed 5 runs in that 4 runs in that first inning and exited after just one frame. So that rough start, but she was absolutely dominant throughout this tournament. But Texas was crowned champions, and it seems softball is on the up and up.
Congratulations, Texas. This Tegan Cavan, believe it or not, same high school as Caitlin Clarke.
Yeah.
So that's they got some pretty dang good female athletes. Well, athletes in general, specifically female athletes, coming out of Dowling Catholic in West Des Moines, Iowa. But yes, dude, it was awesome. That's pretty cool. Now I feel like it's not very often in a college game like you get an in-state matchup. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, everyone in Texas had a stake in that.
Yeah.
Just about everyone. So,
absolutely.
That seemed like it was pretty cool for sure.
Yeah, but Tanner, who is your loser of the episode?
Yeah, Sam, my loser is going to have to be head coaching search because we got some news over the past couple days. Now, I believe this is the first actual episode we've recorded since Tom Thibodeau was fired as the New York Knicks head coach. I've said it once, I've said it a million times on this podcast that I just don't really know where I stand with Thibodeau. I love what he's done for the franchise. I understand moving on. But the one thing that I have always said, when your current coach is like doing well, but you think there's a need for a change, the case with the Knicks, kind of the case with what happened with like Fran McCaffrey and what I think with Kirk Ferentz. Like, obviously, I do think a change is needed in a lot of those. And obviously, it did happen in the men's basketball program when Fran McCaffrey got fired. But you just can't fire him to fire him. And that, what I think made me feel comfortable was after the first conference finals in 25 years, there's no way the New York Knicks just fired him for shits and giggles. And they had to have a plan, right? Well, with each passing day, it looks like they may not have had a plan because then over the past couple of days, we've heard that the Knicks have tried to talk to 4 coaches, all of which who are currently employed in the NBA. Those coaches being Chris Finch of the Timberwolves, Ime Udoka of the Rockets, Quinn Snyder.
That's brutal.
Quinn Snyder of the Hawks. I guess it may have only been 3, or was there 4?
Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd, that's right. And of course,
was asked
of the Mavericks.
Yeah.
So we've got Jason Kidd of the Mavericks, Quinn Snyder of the Timberwolves, Ime Udoka of the Rockets, and now Quinn Snyder of the Hawks. All 4 were denied, of course. So I really hope. Now, again, this is not me saying firing Thibodeau was a mistake. The Knicks are done. What an idiot move. Yeah, this is me saying the optics right now are looking like they fired him just to fire him, and they didn't really have that much of a backup plan other than coaches who are currently employed. which obviously, when they're currently employed and they're making a lateral move, the team has the right to deny that interview. And obviously, all 4 teams did because, why wouldn't you? I mean, it feels like it's obvious they were going to be denied. So I don't know where the next move is, but it's not looking good at the moment that they're 4. I guess I don't even know if it's because I haven't even gotten anything like, oh, they interviewed this. They had other than these people who are currently. So it looks like their top 4 options were just other head coaches.
Yeah,
that's not good. I don't think.
Yeah, not good at all. Definitely seems the firing was a little rushed in my opinion. But yeah, absolute chaos in the New York Knicks front office for sure. Any last thoughts?
I was just gonna say, like, again, I want to this is not me saying that decision was awful and the Knicks are done. It's just me saying that so far, not great. And it just increasingly looks like they fired him just to fire him, which I think was clearly the only way that this would have been a big, big, big mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. For my loser of the episode, we are going to go on the pitch because Tanner, U.S. soccer, specifically the men's team, might be dead.
Dead.
They are awful. Awful, Tanner. A couple months back in March, they participated in the CONCACAF Nations Tournament Cup, whatever you want to call it. Lost to Canada and Panama. And then recently, the past couple of days, they had 2 friendlies. One against Turkey. They dropped that one 2-1. And they let up 2 goals in 3 minutes. So that's kind of tough. And then yesterday they played Switzerland and gave up 4 goals in the first half. So it has a lot of people questioning how this U.S. team is going to participate in the upcoming World Cup. We had Joseph on a while back, and he was calling this kind of the golden age for U.S. soccer. But
as golden as it has ever been, at least for U.S. soccer.
But it is dark and gloomy with U.S. Men's national team right now.
Tough. That sucks because, like you said, we made the new hire. You know, the guy from Argentina, right?
Yeah.
We made the new hire. The team should be pretty good. We're hosting here soon. And yeah, that's really not good. That would be a huge, just I don't even know what the right word is. Just a huge bummer if after all these positive signs in the World Cup we wait 4 years for, and then the U.S. just comes and sucks it up in the upcoming one on U.S. soil.
Yeah, it kind of makes no sense, obviously. Oh, and it's the first 4-game losing streak since 2007. So we are just killing it on the pitch. It makes absolutely no sense why U.S. soccer isn't one of the more powerful teams. Is it? I
agree with generally some of the best athletes in the world just can't do it in soccer.
Yeah. Every other sport we're pretty dominant except the largest, so maybe that has something to do with it. We have many options from youth, and but
it's still just
we have guys playing in
it's a big enough sport to where we even though maybe more popular pound for pound in other countries, we have enough people and enough interest. We still should be pretty good, and we're
not. So yeah. It's tough right now, and it's going to be an interesting journey, obviously, with the World Cup coming in next year. But, Hannah, you ready to talk some hoops?
Sure am.
I'm not, so we're going to skip it. No. NBA Finals. A lot of people are pissed about this. We talked about this last episode. But it has been absolutely awesome at certain moments, not so much. The series is tied 1-1 as we speak. Game Game 3 is tonight on night of recording Wednesday, so you'll know what happens in that one. But Tanner, this game 1 was something to watch. Tyrese Halliburton.
They did it again.
Dude.
It's
ridiculous
again, man. And everyone on earth, because this was the Thunder were fully in control. And if you remove the scoreboard and went by game feel, you would say, oh, the Thunder are winning this game by 20. And you look at the scoreboard and it's only 12. And you're just like, what? But then the Thunder score 4 and it goes up to 16. You're like, okay, this is what we expect. And then the Pacers come back with 6 and it's down to 10. And you're like, but it's still 10. And like, that's how this game went. They were up 12 at halftime, the Thunder were, and up 9 at the end of the third quarter. It just felt like they were in control. Not that those are crazy leads, but again, the feel of the game, it was just heavily leaning the Thunder's way. And then the fourth quarter Pacers came out to play once again, won the fourth quarter by 10 points, scoring 35, the highest of any team in any quarter in this game was the Pacers in that fourth quarter. And they did it again. Of course, capped off by Tyrese Halliburton, down 1, pull-up jumper, absolute nail.
Yeah, you mentioned how the Thunder were kind of in control the entire game. They had the lead for every second of that game till 0.3 was left on the clock. And that's all that matters, really. SGA, you look at his box score, you would say, yeah, that's what I expect, but it's incredibly inefficient. 38 points on 3 shots. Pacers, we kind of know their depth, and they played team ball. They had 5 players in double figures with Siakam and Toppin and Halliburton leading the way there. But what's the most frustrating part is we got a good offensive game from Lou Dort. He finished with 15. I'm taking that every night of the week, and it seems like we wasted it. Brett Holmgren was awful this game, 2 for 9, 6 points. But with all that being said, there's no reason the Thunder should have lost this game, and somehow Halliburton pulls off the voodoo magic, and it might be karma for the text I sent you and Keegan, saying Thunder in 4, and that bit me in the ass.
We had a good time in that group chat.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
Sam and I going through basically the same thing in game 1, and just in back-to-back series against these damn Thunder. But that was it, man. The Pacers actually had 6 people in double figures, all 5 starters. And then Obi off the bench, and then TJ McConnell had 9. So they almost had 7 people in double figures. And you look at like the shot selection, like who took the least amount of shots in their starting lineup? Nesmith with 9. Who took the most? Siakam with 15. That's a 6-shot difference between their starting lineup. You look at the Thunder, Holmgren had 9 shots. Obviously, SGA with 30, 21 shot difference. It's just so balanced from the Pacers. And it just makes them so hard to guard. And especially when, come that fourth quarter, they turn into the best team in the NBA.
Yeah. I thought the 19 turnovers was going to be too much to overcome for the Pacers. That wasn't an issue. Yeah, I mean, I can bring up the fact they called a lane violation late on a free throw. Can't remember who was shooting, but I'm not gonna make that excuse because, frankly, Tyrese Halliburton does some voodoo magic and it works, and it's insane.
Was that like a bad call or just a call that you're gonna call that?
I mean, every damn free throw in the NBA has it. It was more that than a bad call for sure, but yeah. Absolutely disgusting way to lose game 1, but the Thunder came back. Game 2 kind of took care of business and ended up winning game 2. But give me your thoughts on this one, Tanner.
Yeah, I think this is what is so impressive to me about the Thunder because we mentioned the first round series. I don't remember who they played. Took care of business. That's how much I remember. Grizzlies, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, then the second round matchup was the Nuggets. Game one, a game they should have won at home. The Nuggets go into Oklahoma City, win it, and everyone's like, "Oh, what did the Thunder do in game two? Beat the living piss." I think it was like 140 to like
Yeah.
90 or something.
Yeah.
They
It's
literally
an
won the
ass
game at
whooping.
40 or 50. Now in this series, they lose game one. They probably should have won at home. What happens? They go on game two. They didn't win by 40, but they took care of business and were up multiple times during this game. We're up by 20 plus. Ended up winning by 16. Again, this is what the other game felt like. It's just that this time it actually happened, where the Thunder just straight up said, "No, no, no, we're taking care of business." And that's what I think is so special about this Thunder team is their resiliency, among other things.
Yeah, absolutely. Shea returned to himself. He had an incredible game. In this one, 34 points, 11 for 21 on from the field, just looked absolutely dominant. Um, and Chet bounced back, had 15. They just had scores all around. Aaron Wiggins had 18, Caruso 20, Shea with 34, Jalen Williams 19, 15. It was an impressive performance. They kind of shut down Tyrese Halliburton. If you look at his box score, he finished with, I want to say, 15 points, but his like 2 for 5 till like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But it was awesome. They when things kind of started to cook, they went on 19-2 run in the second quarter. Uh, and shout out to Coach Dejanalt. Game one, they kind of tweaked the lineup a little bit, went away from their two big set, which I don't really understand why. But that he went back to Hartenstein, Holmgren on the floor at the same time, and it turned out to be a great decision. And we'll see if they can do it again tonight. Traveling to Indy, that place is going to be absolute bonkers. But they might have made a fatal mistake, Tanner.
Oh, that would be.
Street names.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I did.
What
I
is
did.
that?
I did. I did. Look, I didn't think the Knicks doing that was that big of a deal. Obviously, I'm a Knicks fan, so take that with a grain of salt. I'm a huge supporter of enjoying the ride, and when an entire city gets behind a team, and that way, I think that's really cool. However, you just saw how it played out.
Yeah.
You just did, and like again, I don't think it was that big a deal. The Knicks did it. I think it's totally okay to be like, you put street signs up and then you immediately lost. That's okay. Like, if you put street signs up, you open yourself up for that, and you got made fun of for it. It happens, whatever. But the Pacers, man, I mean, it just happened. You just beat a team that put up the street signs. Like,
Yeah.
it's a little like, again, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I like it when the city
No.
gets behind his team, but it's still just the optics of it after the Knicks did it and lost, and all the shit that came their way. Like, maybe you shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't have done it.
And the fact they used Thomas Bryant for one of them, just like, sure. I mean, Nimhard and Neesmith have been two of your best players all
Or
postseason.
even
But
if you just like rename Main Street to Halliburton Way,
Yeah.
or something, or or whatever the street the stadium's on to Neesmith, whatever.
yeah, but yeah, absolutely crazy. But going into game three, Tanner, tonight, what are kind of some like? Give me a couple things the Pacers need to do to get this to switch the tide, and what? Give me a couple things the Thunder kind of need to do to continue their dominance we saw in game two.
Yeah, I'll start with I'll start with the Thunder, I think the biggest thing for them, I know it's kind of backwards because we mentioned it as a strength of the Pacers in that game one, but looking at game two and how things like you mentioned the big run was in the second quarter. Who usually plays in the second quarter? Your bench.
Yeah.
And looking at these numbers, you mentioned 18 from Aaron Wiggins off the bench. Caruso had 20 off the bench.
Shout out Caruso,
38 from two bench players right there. Wiggins was also plus 24. And Hartenstein, who came off the bench, he didn't do much, offensively. He was plus 17, and Kendrick Williams was plus 15. That's all off your bench, all of those plus minuses. Like, that's really when the Thunder took this game by the horns. When you have guys like Hartenstein and Wiggins and Caruso coming off the bench, that is such a huge strength. And when they play well, obviously, you know what Shea's going to do. Jalen Williams has been a little up and down, but still, the type of player he is. But when that bench comes to play, that's when this Thunder team becomes not hard to beat, impossible to beat. Now on the Pacers side of things, man, again, it's so backwards because the one game they had all the turnovers, they won, but you just have to limit turnovers, especially against the Thunder. The Thunder are the best team in the league at turning you over and getting out in transition and scoring on the fast break and drawing fouls on the fast break. They're long, they're quick, they're young, they love to get up and down the floor. The Pacers love to do that too, but do that in a 5-on-5 scenario. Get your guys back and play defense instead of having to get back 2-on-1, 3-on-2 because you're turning the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think those are two great takeaways for what these teams need to do for sure. Excuse me. For me, in addition to kind of the Thunder keeping the bench production at a max, if we can get Lou Dort to score 10 points a game and Chet to be average, he doesn't have to be amazing. I think that's huge.
Give you Chet needs 12 and 8.
Yeah.
And you're in a good spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Pacers get down by like 10 plus points because it seems to work.
Be trailing by 10 in the fourth quarter and you'll win.
It's stupid, but I feel bad for the people that saw this matchup and just decided not to watch it.
New York, so I'm not watching.
But
I don't feel bad for them. They're losers.
This series has been awesome, heartbreaking in game one. But I have no idea where this series is going to end up. But Tanner, give me your prediction.
For the whole series?
Yep, whole series. Who's coming out NBA champs?
I have the Oklahoma City Thunder in 7. I think it goes the distance. I think the Pacers win tonight in game 3. I think we're dead even heading back to Oklahoma City for game 5 when the Thunder win game, or the Pacers win game 3, Thunder win game 4, Thunder game 5, Pacers game 6, then it goes back to Oklahoma City and the Thunder win game 7. So that's my prediction.
I like it, but it's going to be OKC in 5.
OKC in 5, they lose again.
Yep, they don't lose again. That was a wake-up call.
I like that.
That was a wake-up call.
His first prediction was about 4.
I just said that, but I was Thunder.
I get it. Now a bigger prediction that I want from you. What do you think they CGI onto the court? Do they do the clip art?
That was awful.
That has to be one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
I would assume. Now, it is really easy to put logos on a court. It's literally a sticker.
You're also the National Basketball Association with literally every resource in the world.
Personally, I know this is going to be kind of a spicy take because I know a lot of people liked it. I'm not a big fan of the Larry O'Brien giant trophy in the middle. I'm not.
Interesting.
Like the ones I've seen, it's like half the court.
Yeah, where like it'll be like the I have one in my mind, the Spurs one.
Yeah,
the Spurs logo, and the thing is literally like end to end.
Yeah.
Um,
I always have liked the final
you need
script.
that. You need that.
Um,
It's so classy. Like when you see that, you just like you lock in. Like
yeah.
as a viewer, you lock in. Like because it's just so you know the elegant script. It just works, man. That has to be on it. Which they switched to that. I don't know if you
Yeah.
they switched to digitally putting that on, which like was better.
But it had like YouTube TV logo
Yeah, you know
next
what's
to it.
better than that? Just a
Just,
final sticker.
yeah.
I'm and even like where they put the Larry O'Brien's like on the that's fine. Do it with an actual
Yeah.
sticker. We're
Mm-hmm.
fine. Or you know the logo where it says like the finals and script and it has the Larry O'Brien
Yeah.
like up
Yeah.
the finals script.
Yeah. That's perfect.
But it is. I totally agree with NBA Twitter and everyone. Like the court needs some juice via the final script or the Larry O'Brien somewhere.
Now, what I am worried about is they do too much, and we have a
season tournament.
We have an in-season tournament.
That
like
if they do that, I think every basketball fan in America would January 6th the NBA off.
What? It was a Big 12 tournament where they had all the. It was like the Roman numeral 12. Just all. That's what they're gonna do with the Larry O'Brien, and it's gonna be like gold. It's either they're gonna do the most minimalistic thing and just keep rocking with the digital, or they're gonna go over the top. There's no in between.
If they were able to get you know the final script sticker or the final script the Larry O'Brien sticker on the court,
which would be tragic.
Which would be tragic if they can't get that within 2 days.
It's literally a sticker.
If you're the National Basketball Association, you can't get that made in 2 days.
It can be done in about 30 minutes. I've seen it done.
Yeah. If that isn't the case, what I ideally would be the digitally added the final script.
Yes.
Without Larry O'Brien was so bad, and I just love it. Was like Adam Silver heard all our complaints and got his best engineers to work on a solution, day and night over the 48 hours. It was so bad.
And it like was being moved during the broadcast.
They were so bad at layering it. Did you see the flag? When like one of the the Thunder had like some cheer squad with the flag, and someone did it, and at the angle it was supposed to cover it, but the layering was so bad that it the was layered on top of the flag, and it was clearly so off.
Tough.
Yeah, it was really tough. ESPN or ABC, whatever, ESPN. Don't do the digital Larry O'Brien. That was awful.
That's really bad. But Terry, you ready to hop on the diamond?
Let's do it, man.
Now, it's going to be a little different on the diamond than normal because the College World Series is going on. But Tanner is going to kick it off with some MLB talk. Tanner, I'll let you get right to it.
Yeah, Sam, I remember when we last went on the diamond, we kind of hit the highlights, what teams were playing well, what teams were leading divisions, what teams were struggling. And I think, Sam, moral of the story here is kind of the same old. What we saw in the beginning of the year has just kind of continued. The AL Central right now is being run by who I think is the best team in baseball, the Detroit Tigers. They're 20 games over 500, 44-24, leading that AL Central. The Yankees have been very good as well, 40-25 on top of the AL East. The Mets have continued their run as well, 43-24, and the Cubs have been the best team in the Central. They're 41-27 with a 5-game lead, and with all of that being the best teams in the MLB. I remember we were talking about the most disappointing. We were looking at the Braves, like what's going on with the Braves? Yeah, well, as it sits today, they're 29-38 in fourth place in the NL East behind the Mets, Phillies, and Nationals. 14 games behind the Mets for first. I remember talking about the Baltimore Orioles as it currently sits. They're 26-39, Sam. Last place in that AL East, 14 games behind the Yankees. So a lot of the same just general trends. I mentioned some of the best teams in baseball. The Dodgers, obviously. They're the Dodgers. The AL West, or excuse me, NL West is still very good from last time we talked about it. The Diamondbacks in fourth place. They're currently 500. So imagine being 500 and you're in fourth place. For context, that fourth place in the NL East was the Braves, who are 9 games under 500. So that's really tough. And, they're 6.5 games back from first, with the Padres 9 games over 500, Giants 11 games over, Dodgers 13 games over 500. So from the team standpoint, teams that we were looking to turn it around, namely the Orioles and the Braves, just haven't. They've continued to sit in fourth and last place in their respective divisions. But Sam, we also have to talk about the greatest hitter of our generation, maybe of all time. Aaron Judge has just continued to mash baseballs. I mean, at this current juncture, Aaron Judge is hitting .396 with 24 home runs, 58 RBIs. That is good for a 1.267 OPS, leading the majors in average. He's second in home runs behind Kyle Raleigh, who we talked about in a past episode, and he's second in RBIs behind Pete Alonso, actually, of the Mets. He is just unbelievable, and his numbers continue to be unbelievable. And that's kind of where we sit, Sam, with things in the MLB season. More of the same, which as we get into, which obviously we're in June now, June and July, when things start to heat up, maybe that's when we can see things change. Obviously, that's when things changed for the Mets last year. So maybe some other teams will flip it around, but that's kind of where things are sitting right now.
Yeah, it seems there isn't a lot of mix-up, obviously, very early on in the season. But Tanner, have you seen? I saw this on X. I can't remember who posted it, but it was as of June 9th, so a couple days ago. One stat every team leads. Nice, dude. Shout out who posted that.
I had it up, ready to talk about it.
There we go.
As soon as we moved on, that is awesome. But it was posted by at Brooks_Gate.
Shout out,
Brooks.
This is a great graphic.
This is awesome. I mean, do we just
rattle them off?
Let's go through it. All right, we'll start with the
obviously save one for last.
I assume we're saving the Orioles for last. Is that what okay? Yeah. So the Diamondbacks, they have the best OPS when ahead in the count. That's pretty good. Pick your spots. The Athletics have the most successful challenges with 15 this year. So shout out Marcotte and the Athletics coaching staff. The Braves have the most defensive runs saved, so they're really good on defense. Allegedly, the Orioles will skip. The Red Sox have the most hard hit balls. They have 808 hard hit baseballs.
Now, what does that?
I think
what's the measurement
over 100 miles an hour, I believe, or maybe it's over 95. It's there is
interesting.
There is it might be 95, but yeah, it's good for the Red Sox.
Yeah,
most hard hit baseball.
Let's go.
It's like a standard thing. So if you look up like what's a hard hit baseball, it should be. My final guess is over 95 miles.
Oh, my computer's slow.
Okay, so we'll move on.
95 or higher.
Yeah, 95 or higher. Okay. The Cubs have the highest first pitch.
Let's go.
They're just absolutely grooving strikes. The White Sox, we reached for this one, but not quite as much as others. The White Sox have the fewest sacrifice bunts allowed.
Let's go.
Only 2.
The bunt defense goes crazy.
The Reds have the most pitches thrown over 100 miles an hour. Absolute gas coming out of Cincinnati. The Guardians have the highest OPS in high leverage situations, so they're clutch. Those Cleveland Guardians. The Colorado Rockies. You could possibly think, hey, what's going on? What can they possibly lead in? Well, they have the most
losses.
Long shot, but they have the most triples.
Shout out.
That huge force field. It's, rattling around in the outfield, and they're getting to third base. The Detroit Tigers, they have the fewest blown leads. That bullpen is coming
Let's
in.
go.
It's coming in strong. The Houston Astros have the most pitching strikeouts. So that staff is missing a lot of bats with 623 Ks pitching. The Royals have the best batting average with 2 strikes. So
it's not even like
they're demons. They're hitting 201. Yeah, I mean it's tough to hit with 2 strikes. But good for the Royals. They're the best at getting a hit with 2 strikes. So the Angels, they're good at getting ground balls when they need it with the most double plays turned.
Let's go.
With 77. The Doyers, they have the best batting average with runs in scoring position. They're hitting 301 with runs in scoring position. That is bananas, actually.
Yeah, it is. But like of any team,
of course. Yeah. The Miami Marlins. This is a great one. The most home runs by rookies, because they probably have the most rookies on their team with the lack of major league talent on that team. The Milwaukee Brewers.
Shout out.
Can absolutely scoot on the base paths. They're the fastest team by average sprint speed, 27.9 feet per second.
That's pretty fast.
That's pretty fast. Well, I wonder what that is miles per hour.
27.9.
27.9 feet per second to miles per hour.
19 miles per hour.
That's pretty freaking fast.
Damn.
That's pretty freaking fast. The Brewers can scoot. The Minnesota Timberwolves, Jesus. The Minnesota Twins.
Nope, you get
they have the fewest walks allowed. They throw strikes up in Minnesota. So good for them. My New York Mets, the lowest team ERA at 2.88. Best pitching staff in the league, some are saying. The New York.
I don't know. The Phillies, bro. Look at that. Look at that, man. Most starts of at least 7 innings.
The Phillies have the most starts of at least 7 innings with 14. The Yankees have the highest team OPS at 809. The Pittsburgh Pirates, they have the best record on Wednesday.
Shout out Wednesday. It's Wednesday, my dudes.
I'm not even going to do that. But the Pirates are 9-1 on Wednesday.
Shout out.
That is crazy. For one of the worst teams in baseball. They are 9-1 on Wednesdays, which usually, like, of the weekdays, Wednesday is by far the highest odds to be a day game, because a lot of times the last game of the series is a day game to allow teams to fly out to get where they need to go for the next game. So, a lot of series start on Monday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday would be the day game. So maybe they're just demons in the day during the week.
Not the best, though. They are not the best in day games.
Yeah, that's fair. The best the day games during the week.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. 9-1 on Wednesdays is crazy. But the Padres, they have the best batting average with 2 outs. They're hitting 271. 2-out rallies are in San Diego. The Seattle Mariners, they are the best. They are 16-8 in baseball, which is pretty cool. The San Francisco Giants, they have the best bullpen in baseball, it appears. They have a 2.32 ERA.
It's not bad.
Not bad at all, that bullpen. Now, the Cardinals, we had the Braves leading in defensive runs saved, but the Cardinals leads in outs above average. 2 different defensive metrics, where if you look up a certain player and their defensive runs saved and their outs above average, a lot of times they will be wildly different. So it's all about which one you choose, because one stat could say a player sucks on defense and one say he's the best defender. It's really weird how that goes. But if you look at outs above average, the Cardinals are the best in baseball.
These are so good.
With plus 22.
They're so good.
The Rays have the most 9th inning comeback wins at 9.
Nice.
There you go.
Hell yeah. Tampa.
Never done in Tampa. I guess it is in Tampa still, even though it's a minor league ballpark.
Yeah.
At Steinbrenner Field. Fewest base runners allowed to the Texas Rangers. That pitching staff keeping guys off base. The Toronto Blue Jays, they are really good at not striking out, bat to ball contact.
There
they
you
have
go.
The strikeouts in baseball at 446. The Washington Nationals, they have the most games won as the betting underdog. It's a pretty impressive one. Don't sleep on the Nationals. I guarantee you in your mind right now, you're thinking what the Nationals record is. I guarantee you it's better than what you think it is. It's not great, but it's still better than what you think it is. The Nationals are not that bad this year. But now that just leaves the best one on this list, the Baltimore Orioles. We talked about how they've really struggled this year. But if there's one thing to hang your hat on, if you are a fan of the Baltimore Orioles, one thing to look forward to. No, it's not a traditional stat you'll see on a baseball, in baseball stats, but they are the heaviest team by average weight. Weighing
Let's go.
On average, 219 pounds. Give it up for the Orioles.
Let's go.
This list rocks.
Yeah, it's amazing. There were definitely some stretches on that list, but I love it regardless.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes it the best.
Yeah.
Is when you have these teams that are bad, you have to find one that works. And yeah, they ended up doing it. But that was awesome. One stat every MLB team leads the league in. Again, this is from at Brooks_Gate. Brooks Gate.
Absolutely. Yeah, MLB not as chaotic as the Men's College World Series. This tournament has been absolute bonkers. Now, probably wondering why the hell are you talking about this, Sam? Because it has been absolutely bonkers, like I said. So we kind of touched on a little bit of the format earlier in the last episode because there's a bunch of craziness in the regionals. So it goes regionals. It's like a pod play, double elimination, then super regionals, which is a 3-game series, and then the World Series, which is in Omaha, is a double elimination. Why they don't just do all double elimination makes no sense to me. But so there's 8 teams in the World Series split into 2 brackets. Double elimination. Bracket 1, we have Oregon State, Coastal Carolina, Arizona, Louisville. The matchups are Coastal Carolina, Arizona, and then Oregon State, Louisville. Those will first be played on June 13th at 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. Bracket 2 is going to be the fun one. We have Arkansas, LSU, UCLA, Murray State. And UCLA takes on Murray State at 1 p.m. on June 14th. And then Arkansas, LSU, they are the 2 highest seeds left. 3, Arkansas takes on LSU at 6 p.m. Central Time that night. The winner moves on. There's a loser bracket, but it just confuses me, so I'm just going to not talk about that. But the 2 winners of the brackets move on to finals, and then the finals are the best of 3.
Right. So I think it's like the finals are best of 3, but like the individual brackets are like double elim, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. They make this so much more complicated than it needs to be.
For sure.
But so you're probably wondering, why are we talking about college baseball? Which valid. So for the first time since 1957, none of the 8 teams in the Men's College World Series attended last year's, which is pretty crazy because there are like notable names in this tournament. Arkansas, LSU kind of headlining those. Oregon State won not too long ago in 2018. Sorry, Hog fans, for bringing that up. But and then of course you have the Cinderella story with Murray State. They became the 4th regional 4 seed to ever reach the Men's College World Series. It's their first trip. But I kind of want to dive into each team individually, kind of give you a brief synopsis and kind of guys that if you're an MLB fan, you might want to tune into. So I'll kick it off. Arizona coming out Big 12, 44-19, first appearance since 2021. They won their super regional versus UNC in 3 games. They lost 18-2 in that game. Won 10-8 and then 4-3. Just lose, yeah. But they have some absolute nuke hitters. Mason White, a name to remember, hitting 333, 70 RBIs. Their closer is has a fantastic name, Tuna Pluto.
Tuna Pluta.
Absolute pitches gas. 1.3 ERA and 14 saves. And then Brendan Summerhill, 358, 34 RBIs. White and Summerhill, excuse me, are both in the MLB top 200. So you'll be seeing them playing in the majors. And of course, my Arkansas Razorbacks, 48-13 out of the SEC. They beat the defending champs, Tennessee, in the Super Regional. Won 4-3 in Game 1 and 11-4 in Game 2. They're one of the most complete teams in the country. SEC champs. They got power pitching and just straight up swag. Plus, Weewa Alloy is going to be a top 10 draft pick.
Weewa
Weewa WEHIWA WEHIWA.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna try that.
But he is an absolute mash this year. 348 batting average, 64 ribbies, and 20 homers. Moving on, we got Coastal Carolina defeat Auburn in their Super Regional second ever trip. They have been hot. They entered this tournament with 23 straight wins. They are fast, aggressive, and just locked in, dominant pitching. Their ace is 11-0. He goes by the name Jacob Morrison and has a 2.15 ERA, which is absolutely absurd in baseball or in college baseball. And then another name to be on the lookout for, King Bodine. He's also an MLB prospect. 322 average, 41 ribbies. LSU, they had an interesting regional. They actually dropped to Little Rock in their regional, but went on to beat them in game 2 or 3. Beat West Virginia in the Super Regional pretty handedly, 16-9 and 12-5. But they are just absolute hot. They have the best pitcher in college baseball. Will probably has the potential to be the number 1 overall pick in the MLB. 10-1 on the year. So be on the lookout for his pitching. Louisville's making a crazy run. They upset Miami in the Super Regional. They are headlined by Patrick Forbes, another pitcher that just thrives in close games. Then, of course, I want to talk about these guys the most. Murray State, first ever men's college World Series. Absolute crazy Super Regional against Duke. They lost game 1, 4-7. Then went on to whoop ass game 2, 19-9. And then game 3 won 5-4. Did you see the ending of this game?
I did not.
So pretty crazy with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th. Murray State's up 5-4. Duke hitter hits a ground ball to, I want to say, his shortstop. Whatever it was, doesn't matter. They get the second base. They throw it to second base. Obviously, forces an out, and they call interference on the runner to prevent the double play. So they call both runners out, game over. Murray State starts dogpiling. They just made it to to Omaha. They're going to Omaha. And then Duke challenges it.
Sure.
And it was one of the worst interferences I've ever seen. So it got reversed. So after dogpiling and everything, they had to regroup. Fortunately for them, the pitcher forced to pop up to move on. So Murray State if you don't have any dog in the fight, this is a team you want to cheer for. They are literally just playing off vibes. Like they are the ultimate underdog story. Their stadium is 800 seat stadium. Now they're playing LSU, Arkansas. All these teams have just bet triple A level facilities, some even better. Um, and their head coach actually is a groundskeeper, cuts the grass. Just like there's no rhyme or reason why this team should be in the situation they are. So if you're looking for a reason to watch a College World Series, this is the team you have to watch. It's literally America's team. It's like Florida Gulf Coast like Dunk City in March Madness. Like that is a level we're talking about, and you rarely see that in college baseball.
Yeah, I mean, because like theoretically, making the postseason would be making the tournament.
Yeah.
So essentially, we're the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
So this is a 16, a 13 plus seed making the Elite Eight.
It's insane, absolutely insane. But kind of rounded out, Oregon State obviously is now an independent school. Returned for the first time, took care of business against Florida State in the Super Regional. They aren't flashy. They're not really having wow factors other than Ava Arquette. He's hitting 354, but they just know how to win. So that's going to be a fun one. And then UCLA out of the Big Ten, classic Big Ten school, 47-16. First time since 2013. Unfortunately, beat the other underdog in the Super Regional, UTSA. But they got a guy by the name of AJ Salgado. He has power, speed, and this pitching staff has been quietly dominating this regional and super regional. But Salgado, 313, 12 homers, 52 RBIs, 14 stolen base. So it is a wide variety of teams, stories, backstories that you normally don't see in the College World Series. Obviously, this sport tends to be dominated by the Southern schools, ACC. We've seen Wake Forest kind of be a dominant force. We've seen, obviously, the SEC. Everyone knows about the SEC ball with Tennessee, Vandy, Arkansas, LSU. They only have 2 this year. So if you're looking for a team to root for, obviously the underdog story, Murray State. If you want the most chaos in baseball, Murray State is your team. If you're just one of those guys that want to check out the MLB talent, LSU or Arkansas is going to be your team. Another fun dark horse is Coastal Carolina. Comeback. If you're looking for like kind of a bounce back comeback story, Arizona is going to be your team. That low-key dark horse, silent assassin level, Oregon State's your team. For just straight-up drama, Louisville's your team. And then if you want to just cheer for UCLA for that kind of redemption that they haven't been there in a long-ass time. But if you love the buzzer beaters, the Cinderella stories, just the raw emotion of March Madness, and you're just looking for something with a little more oomph in sports right now, tune into the College World Series. Tune into Omaha. This is college baseball's biggest stage, and every team has a bunch of fireworks to lit.
Love that, man. It's just obviously I am someone who loves baseball. Growing up as an Iowa fan, never really got that far into college baseball. I've seen a lot. I've watched a little bit, seen a lot of the clips, electric stuff. And now there is no bigger stage in college baseball. So now would be the time to check in for sure.
Yeah. Can we talk about how weird it is that it's in Omaha?
It is a little strange, but like it's like
But it's definitely the most central. Like, it's pretty central. So,
yeah, and it's just like it's synonymous, like college baseball, Omaha.
yeah.
They just go with each other.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's not like Nebraska's like a
Yeah.
crazy or Creighton that's in Omaha, or like anything that there's a crazy college, but
Yeah.
it is a little like it's not like it's and if it was in Baton Rouge, I was.
But that's like college, like.
But yeah,
that's college baseball now.
Is Omaha. Omaha is
Yeah.
college baseball. It's just how it goes, and it is a little strange for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But that kind of wraps it up on the diamond. We're a little different this week. It wasn't just all MLB. Had to show love to the college game as well. Tanner, that leads us to the Give Me Five. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So this one is something that is a very common theme within the sports realm, but can also be taken out of the sports realm, which I think could lead to some crazy things. It's dynamic duos. Tanner, take us off, man.
Dynamic duos. You sent me the prompt. The very first thing that popped into my mind, I think that these two things are elevated with each other so much more, and they're just the quintessential dynamic duo. I'm going peanut butter and jelly.
That's a great pick. That's a great pick. I had that on my list for sure.
That's my number one pick.
That's a good one. Absolutely. But I think I might have a better one.
Be
us.
That's a better one.
I mean, name a duo. Seriously. All right. Let's go. Let's go. I mean, I had to, right? Absolutely.
Right there.
Dude, it really does. But oh man, there's just so many like sports realm, outside of sports realm. There's just this is tough, man. But I gotta go with one of kind of the OG dynamic duos, SpongeBob SquarePants and Patrick.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. What a great duo.
Elite.
What a great duo.
Elite.
Yeah. For my second pick, I'm going to stick in the animated realm. But we're not going TV shows here. We're going video games. Give me Mario and Luigi.
Yep. Had that on my list.
Mario and Luigi in that 2 slot. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
That's elite. Now, do you like the casting of Mario and Luigi in the movie?
When they said it, no. But like when I heard it, it ended up being okay.
It worked. It worked.
Yeah, it ended up working. But
yeah,
like I guess it wasn't as like over the top. Like here we go, like as it probably should have been. But it worked.
Yeah, absolutely.
It worked. Oh, well, for my 3. This is really tough. In that 3 hole, I think I got to go with what I think is probably the most dominant duo. I'm going to bring it to sports. I'm going to go Kobe and Shaq.
Yep.
I got to do the 3-peat, Kobe and Shaq in that 3 slot.
Had that on my list as well. Yeah, there's just so many damn good duos, man. Now I'm gonna go with another one in the sports realm. For years, it was considered one of the best, if not the greatest, dynamic duos in sports. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
interesting. I can tell you one of those 2 was on my list. All right. I like it. I like it.
A little saucy.
A little saucy
for sure. For my 4th pick, wait, there's just so there's just so many duos, man. And there's so many different avenues you could go. But I'm going to step out of the sports realm.
Let's hear it.
Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, great.
Phineas and Ferb.
Really good.
One of the most underrated dudes.
Really good. I mean, Phineas and Ferb. Yeah, those guys knew how to have a good time on summer day.
And then they just make it all disappear, dude.
It was.
I mean,
what a great pick. Phineas and Ferb is awesome.
They do it all.
They do it all.
They really do it all, man.
That's great. I love that. For mine, I think I'm going to step out of the sports world too. For my last couple, I'm going to go. My 4 slot, I'm going to stick with the cartoons. I'm going to talk about 2 people that were nothing until they met each other. Then they made it big time. Tom and Jerry.
Oh, that's good.
Tom and Jerry.
That's a good one.
Duo. I watched the crap out of Tom and Jerry when I was a kid.
That's good.
Love me some Tom and Jerry. And then my last pick, it's not flashy at all, but it always gets the job done. And these are also 2 things that really rely on each other. Give me Salt and Pepper. Give me Salt and Pepper to round it out.
That's a good one. That's a damn good one. That's a really good one. That's a steal at 5. Can we talk about that?
I was pretty happy with it. Would you have it on? We're gonna take
it. Wasn't even on my list.
Oh, that was
Wow. How did I miss that? Damn. That's a great pick at 5. There's still a lot.
There's a lot, man. I got a whole.
Oh yeah.
We've only got 2 out of the sports realm.
Yeah, dude. 5. I'm going rogue.
Let's go rogue. What do we got?
And I think this is a dynamic duo for a lot of people. Summertime and ice cream.
Yeah.
Is it a better combo?
It's just, I mean, if you're sickos like me and you, there's ice cream year round.
It's true. But it's true.
Ice cream during the
ice cream in the summer, dude.
It is just, and like, everyone's like, oh, you don't want it to melt. Yeah. But when that starts to melt a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And it starts to make it a little bit softer. Nothing better.
Absolutely.
Nothing better.
That one was all over the place, Tanner. But give me your rundown 1 through 5, and then we'll talk some honorable mentions.
Yeah, so I got PB&J. It's my first pick. Peanut butter and jelly. I'm going Mario and Luigi in the 2-hole. Kobe and Shaq was my 3rd pick. Tom and Jerry, my 4th pick, and then Salt and Pepper rounded it out with the 5th.
Yeah, that's an elite list. This can be interesting.
This will be a good one.
So for my 5, it's number 1. I mean,
it's a great pick.
SpongeBob and Patrick with my 2. Tom Brady and Belichick. Phineas and Ferb in summertime and ice cream. Tanner, do you got any honorable mentions?
Oh, I sure do. What do you think? You want to go sports first or not sports?
Let's go sports first.
Okay. Probably the next. If I was going to go sports, the next one I was going to pick was Steph and Clay.
Yep, had that.
Gotta have the Splash Brothers. The one I mentioned before, I actually had Brady and Gronk, not Brady and Belichick, but that was a pretty good. There were some others, like I thought about going Brady and Moss, but I didn't think they played well together. Joe Montana and Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
Some of the best to ever do it at both their positions.
Yeah.
And then of course I had the Murderers Row on this with Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris from the Yankees. They were the first teammates in baseball history to each hit 50 home runs in a season.
It's not bad.
Not bad at all. They were pretty good. But what you got for other sports?
Yes, MJ and Pippen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one. Kareem and Magic is another one. LeBron and D Wade. Another one.
I think the reason I didn't.
But I think them as more of a trio.
That's it. They came together as a trio, and then it was never LeBron and D. Obviously, those two were they were the best two, but it was never just that. Like it was Wade and Bosh after left, but it was never like it was when they were together. It was always a big three. I agree with that.
Yeah,
that's why I didn't.
And then I had Kobe and Shaq as well. I also had to show love to our favorite podcast. PFT and Big Cat.
Yeah, that's a really good duo that are for sure.
Absolute box office.
What a duo.
But let's go kind of entertainment, whether that's TV or movies. You got any there?
Yeah, I had one here that I was loving. Shrek and Donkey.
Yep, had that on my list. When you said Tom and Jerry, I thought you were going Shrek because you're like, they were nothing without. I really thought it was going to be Shrek and Donkey. I was like, because that was one I was debating on taking.
Yeah, that's another that fits with them too, man. They were nothing. One was just an ogre.
Yeah,
one was just a donkey. And they met each other and magic ensued.
Gotta love it.
But yeah, I had Shrek and Donkey on there. I also, of course, I had John Lennon and Paul McCartney.
Oh, that's a good one.
You know, with the Beatles, they were pretty good together. But what else? What else do you have?
I had Batman and Robin.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I had some of the Buzz and Woody.
Yeah.
Mickey and Minnie, of course. Chandler, Bing, and Joey Tribbiani. Let's see. I had Harry Potter and Ron Weasley.
No love for Hermione.
Yeah. See, that's the thing.
A lot of
there's two big dogs, and then there's third one. So then you'll love this one, Tanner. C3PO and R2D2.
Oh,
shout out. And let's see. Did I say? Oh, this one. I'm kind of heartbroken. I didn't pull this one out, but Lightning McQueen and Tillman.
Yeah.
I think that might be one of my fumbles of this draft, but yeah, man. A lot of dynamic duos. You got any more?
That was what I was working with, man. You know, again, I kind of once I got like 10 down, I kind of left with that. I probably could have kept going, but yeah, that's what I ended up with for sure.
Yeah, it's almost better if you have a short. Like if you have too many options, you're just like. And then I went rogue. That's crazy, but it's always fun doing Give Me Fives. One of our favorite segments of the podcast. It's box office. Always trying to come up with new prompts, and I feel like we've had a lot of taking each other's this year, which is awesome.
That's why such a dynamic duo.
Absolutely,
have
the best.
Mind.
But that's gonna wrap it up for episode 173. Talked about a lot in kind of a slow part of the sports seasons, but we talked about a lot. Got some softball talk, baseball, U.S. soccer. Tom Thibodeau's firing. Recap that game 1, game 2 of the NBA Finals. Then hopped on the diamond, talked some College World Series as well as the MLB and those crazy stats. And then, of course, we wrapped up with everyone's favorite Give Me Five. You can follow the podcast on TikTok, X, and Instagram at crunchtime_pod. Like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube Crunch Time with the N326 duo. But the clock has run out on this one. We'll see you on the next one on Crunch Time.
I'll see you.